So hi, I'm Natalie Damio, and the sun is rising right now. But I just woke up, have the coffee, and I just wanted to say that these in the moment videos, they're meant to be that. I kind of speak to what's arising in the moment. As I walked out here and looked at this painting, and then it's just whatever's coming through and flowing through me. And that's how intuition works, actually. It's when you're in the present moment, tuned in, allowing it to open and move through you, and then you get the expression of creativity. So I like to talk in these intuitive flow states and just share what's like on my heart, in my heart, flowing through me in the moment, and that's what this video is. I wanted to kind of talk about what it is to be a conduit for creation, and it's early in the morning. I'm feeling kind of like I've been pushing a lot out emotionally. This is another new one that's in process, a large one. Yeah, so I'm kind of feeling, you can kind of feel the weight of your own internal happiness sometimes. It's, I don't know. I wanted to talk real fast. It's not really so black and white. We have to like break that. Like, this is good and this is bad. There's a lot of in-betweens. The best example is right now it's like 5 a.m. and it's dark. So just in another hour the light will change, and then another hour it will change, and then a high noon it will change, and then mid-afternoon it will change, and then evening it will turn to dusk again. So we're kind of like a spectrum of that. But we act in the world like, do you know what I mean? It hurts. It doesn't just hurt you, it hurts everything. Because you're like grasping, blaming, shaming, and then guilt. And yeah, we all have probably made mistakes in our life. I know I have. And yes, some things are kind of heinous and are beyond maybe repair. Like, I'm not saying never have, but it's that self-righteousness that can really be so damaging. And a lot of people are blinded to their own self-righteousness. I remember, I know I was. I was in my mid-30s in the spiritual journey. And I thought I knew stuff. Ooh. So it's just about, you can get trapped in anything. There's another important lesson and message. You can even become trapped in something that is, quote, positive. And that's where you get toxic positivity, right? Where you get blinded from just like that narrow focus. It's weird, like a good thing can eventually turn bad, and sometimes like a bad thing can be turned good. So there's like that, the dance, right? This is what I thought was this is actually this, and then you're like, whoa, dude. Life and art are kind of like interchangeable, mixable. It's not so freaking serious, although I love to be serious about deep shit. But it's when you like take it all off, like, and stop internally too, right? This is for the self, mainly for the self, because it has to start here, or else you'll never get someone else to comply if you can't comply with yourself. You know what I'm saying? What I mean is, it isn't about forcing anything. It's about flowing into the moment, learning to let go. And yes, this is an ongoing journey, and it's not perfect, and it definitely is a practice, all of it. But it's about like really being honest and looking within, facing it, and That's where my FACE program comes from, is really about facing all the internal fears and being honest with yourself, like, I really want to do this, and I'm just gonna do it. Like, and yes, of course, sometimes things have repercussions in that, like, thing. It depends what you're trying to do. Well, you know what they say, no risk, no reward, but also sometimes the risk could be not the right direction or wasn't in the right moment. And that can, like, really create a setback too in an artwork and in living. But it's still information. And then sometimes there's a lot of reconciliation that has to happen. And in relation to an artwork, what has to happen is you kind of have to just say, I'm going to do it this way. Like, I only want to paint with a tube. Like, I only want to paint they use this color, so what? Good. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal. We kind of have all these rules and regulations, and sometimes we take on too much of what the other person has said, and then we get paralyzed internally. But when you start, like, stripping that all away in art and living and creativity and whatever the dogma was and the dictation, this is how we really break the rules, is we don't listen to what the things are saying, or maybe we see a different way, and that's all our heart is saying, and you follow that heart. As cliche as that saying may be, there's some truth in it, because you're really just now turned inside out and just listening to that beat of your own dance, right? There's that quote, what do they say? Like, those were known to be insane because they heard the music and they're dancing to the beat of their own drum. I'm butchering that right now. But yeah, like, as in, if you hear the music and no one else does, well, like, you gotta follow your own dance of creation and realize that you're not wrong. You're just, like, tuned in and tapped into a different direction, and you need to kind of open more to, like, what is really important. Because sometimes we, like, hide the desire of what's really true, what's important, and we, like, lose sight of our artwork, our lives, and who we are, and what we even would like to be doing, you know, and you know, think it has to just be this one way, but then that kind of ends up looking the same a lot of the times, especially in art. And you know, when you start to look out there at all the things and think about it for yourself, and kind of draw your own conclusions and look at your own stuff and then put it all together, that could be a lot. But you want to do it little by little and realize it's not just so, like, polarized, although we're in a big polarity right now. So the best thing to do is get into your center, get into your, like, fullness, and look within, kind of maybe go silent if you need to, if there's too much noise, and really just ask yourself, like, what's present right now. And, you know, that's always changing, and sometimes, like, there'll be a full period where we have to just really address the healing because of what's happened, and that can look different, right? It doesn't have to be typical ways to come to healing, but maybe it is. And I don't even mean to say typical and put it down. I just mean, like, sometimes there's alternative ways to look at things, and different kinds of systems that can really be more holistically grounded with body, mind, spirit, energy, emotion, heart, you know, like a holistic system, not where it just compartmentalizes. To me, that's the danger, when you just try to compartmentalize something and get one answer, because there's that spectrum, right, of infinitude of color and light and you know, that spectrum. It isn't just any one thing, but like the linear world tries to put it into boxes, and life was never meant for that. Neither was art, especially the kind of art that I love. So there might be, you know, this isn't like a verbatim one answer. It's my perception, and it's only meant to be here to help free you some more if you're like looking for that. Because I'm good at that. But it's not like for everyone. And I'm finally okay with that. Round of applause. You know? And that's how I can stand here and deliver the messages. So I'll continue to help free up you. But you kind of have to do the work for yourself. And remember, your story is yours and my story is mine. So don't, like, you know, you want to draw the line and look at it for yourself. Because sometimes we also take on the other story, or like think that that is what we were doing, but it's not really the case. It's important because everybody does have a story, but when you stop listening to everything out there, you tune in and you can remember your history, your lived experiences. And yeah, some of it might be dark and painful and maybe even a little shameful, but when you like work to heal all of that, and like dive into the wound and look, you can really transform it through color, light, healing, and expressing it out externally. And instead of like, if you know, the anxiety a lot of the times is coming from that suppression of, well, everything, you know, the hiding. I know this, you know, because a big part of most of my life was like that. I was scared of the acceptance piece. I was fearful of being rejected / abandoned. And all of that's happened to me. So now I can stand here and say, I'm still alive. So what I want to say is we survive many things, right? Many things, especially if you're a woman. There's even more to survive at times. But, you know, you can like start to untangle it for yourself and no one else, right? And you have to be, and then you can start to loosen the anger, because I'm not saying anger is wrong, or you know, there could be like sacred rage. But what I can know and say for myself is when I was so in it, sometimes I wasn't even seeing clearly. I was like blinded by it. So you can get blinded by a lot of things, and until you see it, you don't really know until you know, right? This is important because you want to loosen it all up in order to let go and flow into it in the creative work too, because all of those psychological states that I just mentioned and those things that get in the way, well, we do that to ourselves all the time, you know, and that's how you get stuck, and that's how you just don't like make the thing or keep it the way you want to keep it, because you think you're doing it for whatever external reason, or you're wrong because you want to just maybe use color out of the tube. I don't know. But really it's just whatever you want to do within reason, you know. And like when you're wrong, understand that you were wrong and then say you're sorry, hopefully, right? Especially with yourself, because that could be the worst. When you have to carry that weight of the burden of something. when it didn't work out, or where you thought it was going in a different direction. And that can even happen in artwork, because we can get so like wrapped up and thinking, oh, it needs to be this way. And what I noticed with Beautiful Mistake, I'm really just, for my show coming up in May, just really staying present like a lot and letting go even more. And you know, yeah, I do have some doubts. I'm not gonna lie. It's part of the process. But when we can like allow more of it all in, and kind of like let the sides reconcile with each other inside of ourselves, and then just let it be what it wants to be, you know, but within reason, because you as the artist and creative still have probably a goal and a desire and an understanding of what you're looking for, but only you really know what you're looking for. I can't tell you that, you know, and only you can ultimately take yourself to that place inside of yourself. Like, you know, teaching any kind of art, like whether it's spiritual or artistic or abstraction, it's really about just like being like an open container to allow you to flow into the freedom of it all. And that's what I'm here to teach and share in art and living, and definitely energetic, shamanic, and spiritual practices. And for the times that we're moving into with the energies that are changing a lot, the sensitivity. Also, when we start to learn that there's an energetic life force here, well, that can change just our thinking and how we even relate to everything. When we're not afraid to say what it is for us, to say how we see it, to say what the soul sings, we can really open up to more of our own sacred offerings, and like shine that back out into the world. And that's what I'm interested in my artwork and in my life. And it's not always perfect, you know. And I don't think that was like ever the thing that we were trying to maybe strive to and grasp and achieve. But what it is you loosen up and realize, ooh, today is like this. Or today's like this. I don't, and it can kind of be like, ooh, what is that flavor? And sadness doesn't really have to be sad, although, you know, some people like it. It's when you're clinging to anything for too long where you like lose yourself in it. But it doesn't mean, that could be something positive. You can lose yourself in one point of view for too long, and then you don't even remember who you were or what your art was really meant to do. That can happen. You see what I'm saying? So don't grasp on anything. Loosen up, let go. Take it day by day and remember that the sacred waters flow and you can learn to let go and move in those streams of different frequencies, energies, and lights, and then start creating from that space and standing in that power and moving those mountains. and things will change a little bit, but then it will change again and change again and change again. Anyway, this is what was on my mind early in the morning, and I just want to say, you know, keep creating and keep healing and try to like stay fluid, right? That's like the dance of creation. I go like this. I've been dancing a lot while I've been making this work, and I love dancing. It's like a celebration of everything, right? Because you're connected to the frequency and the energy, and you move your body, and when you're making art and dancing, it's so much fun. It's like the trifecta of everything is all right here. So there's a lot of different kinds of emotionality flying around and moving around, and it's kind of just about looking at all the sides and being okay with it. It's really simple in the end, but it's hard sometimes to get through all that stuff, right? And it's easy to then fall back in it. So it's just a practice, all of it, really. It's that's what we're doing here. You're always gonna grow from where you are. You can't really be where you're not because it will just not work. That's the forcing. And things show up when you need them. Sometimes you never know what you need. Sometimes it's definitely not what it seems. There are disguises in life, and you just never know what's gonna be the thing that puts you back on track or changes your life forever.